Are we filming? Yes, we are. So welcome to another of my coffee breaks. Let me just put my coffee over there because it's a little bit too hot I'm still getting used to the black coffee, but it's just too hot at the moment. So let me explain what I'm going to be doing today. In fact, I won't even explain it. I'm just gonna get on with it. So the first thing I want to talk about, and I'm going to try and keep these coffee breaks as fast as possible. Hopefully no more than the length of time it takes to drink a cup of coffee. That's the idea anyway. I just want to deal with 5 issues, and we'll see. Give me plenty of feedback and ask questions, because some of your comments and suggestions, questions might end up in podcast, but others might end up in my coffee breaks. Coffee breaks are going to be more visual, okay, and the podcasts, although it's a video podcast, I'm trying to make sure that there's no visual clues in those, because then they can be more easily listened to. So hopefully perhaps a good hour of discussion, which is predominantly audio, although you can see me talking if that's what you want to do as well. So the coffee breaks, here we go. I'm going to try and make sure that the visual stuff is in the coffee breaks. So, by the way, I'm using this as a demo to illustrate a point, which I'm just about to do. But just a matter of interest. If you're interested in these, then I'll explain more at some point. So this is all about improving organiser handling. And it's been mentioned before, and I've mentioned it before, but it's just a quick thing that I want to demonstrate. So I have got a well-stuffed filofax, not too well-stuffed, but it's very, very typical of the sort of fill that some people might have in their filofax, where it's just starting to curl round, not overstuffed, but we're verging on the point where you really are pushing it to have any more inserts in the binder. So that's the sort of state of play here. But I just wanted to show you something. I just want to illustrate my point. So just imagine that when you open your filofax, you are dealing with something on the first page. Now I just want to show you what happens when I try and turn the first page. It's a little bit tricky. You can't really turn it over too easily. You have to shuffle it round and then you can open it. Again, you can't really open it unless you shuffle it round. Okay, you've got to be careful, because if you tear these holes, I mean, obviously you can have hole reinforcements, but you don't really want to be faffing about with that sort of thing. So what is my point? My point is this. You've got here, I mean, this is just an illustration purposes. I just use this particular vintage binder as paper storage, but I've got some dividers in here that I don't really use. And I just want you to imagine that in this binder, the things that you might want to access more than any others, let's say your diary, if you do have a diary in here, I recommend that you have them towards the middle. Let's say, I mean, that doesn't say diary, it says information, but let's use that tab and we turn it over. Will it turn? Well, apart from the fact I've got a plastic sheet here, they turn very well. Let me just take that out, because that's really conflicting with my advice, really. A bit of an own goal. So let's just move those over, close it, and then close the binder again. So let's try it again. So information. So we turn it over, and it is much easier doing it this way. I mean, it's still You still have to be careful, as we all know, with filofaxes or other binders of different manufacturers, but it's a lot easier to open and examine and use and process information, data, writing, whatever you call it, in the middle of a filofax compared to either end. So if you're going to have several sections in your binder or your organizer, then what you would need to do, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, is look at how often you access that data. If you have a section marked addresses, for instance, I know people don't really have addresses these days. How often do you use that every day? No. So put that at either end of the binder. If you're using the binder, if you're using a binder for storage of paper, then also have that at either end. But the actual working part, the place or the section where most of your work is done in terms of the number of times, the frequency of access, i.e. how many times are you opening it? Ideally, in my opinion, you need to have it as close to the center as possible, because it's an easier way, more therapeutic, less likely to be damaged if you have it in the middle. So that is my first point. And let's see if my coffee is... I think I'm going to have a sip at every subject. That might work. Oh, now that is a fantastic hit. I'm using Costco. Not Costco. I can't remember what coffee. I can't remember. It's a mystery coffee today. So that is the first thing. Now I'm going to continue with this binder, because this is something that has always been a mystery to me. Certainly a mystery, something that maybe, I don't know whether Filofax have ever thought about this, or whether they've thought about it and decided they're not going to bother doing anything about it. Or, I don't want to sound disingenuous, but maybe it costs more to have two systems running. But what I'm talking about is this. I am a left-hander, and I don't know what the percentage of left-handers are out there. I think there's more right-handers than left-handers, but there is a significant number of us left-handers. So when I'm writing, I orientate my binder like so to the left, because my left hand is on the left side of my body, and that means I'm like this. If I had it like this, then, it would be really difficult. I mean, maybe some people can do that. I have seen some left-handers writing like this or writing over the top. But for me personally, I have my arm effectively perpendicular to the page. And so I just orientate the book or the filofax or whatever, so that it is basically in alignment with my arm. That works for me. Everybody's different. Everybody's mileage will vary. But I want you to look at this. So I am looking at it from here. So this thumb is directly above my eyes. Okay, so I am here, and I am looking from here down at an angle to here, and what I'm looking at is a set of tabs that are upside down. Now, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter, because I can see that says addresses, that says financial information. These are the classic tabs that Filofax no longer produce, but it's interesting how things evolve. But they're upside down. They're always upside down for left-handers in this particular orientation. And I just think, why can't they offer a choice, either left-hand tabs for left-handers or tabs for right-handers? It kind of just seems to be a case that, let's not bother with the left-handers. They can manage, but as best they can. We're not going to bother doing anything. I'm sure that's a little bit disingenuous. Or it may be the case that they've never, ever, ever, ever thought of this before. I mean, I'll give you an example. So this is a binder I was using, and I'm not really using it at the moment. But as you can see, when I write my own tabs, instead of writing them upside down, which will be a pretty dumb thing to do, I write them so that I can see them. It'd be no good that way if I was right-handed, because they would be upside down. But when I make my own tabs, and to be honest, I don't need tabs very often, I don't really use them sometimes, I make sure that they are orientated so that I, as a left-handed person, tilting my binder towards my left hand, which is pretty common for left-handers, they are actually the right way up. And then let me just see if I can just do this. You'll notice that I make sure that when I turn them, they're also that way up as well. So basically what I'm doing is I'm flipping I'm thinking about what I'm doing. So these are orientated to me that way, but when I turn them over, they are also orientated towards me. Now, when it comes to filofax tabs, what you find is these are upside down for a left-handed person, but let's just turn them over. They are now the right way up for a left-handed person, which is great. That's half the battle. But look at it from this point of view, and this is really interesting. So let me just turn them, let me just put it back here. So let's just pretend, for the sake of argument, that I am a right-handed person and I've got my filofax orientated towards my right hand, and I'm writing, and I can see the tabs are the right way up for me as a temporary right-handed user. Let's have a look and see what we do. What happens if we turn them over, as you would with a filofax. You just move them around, and then let's have a look at what's going on here. Oh my goodness! For some strange reason known only to the designers of and specifiers of this fantastic setup we have, a clever system of tabs and dividers and paper and filofaxes and binders and organisers. Oh dear, the tabs are now upside down. So what they've done is I don't think they've actually thought about the fact that if you are the sort of person that has their binder at an angle, whether it be right hands or whether it be left hands, half the binders are upside down and the other half are the right way up, and vice versa, depending on whether you're left-handed or right-handed, if you tilt the binder either that way or that way. And there's obviously no other way of resolving this other than to sell left-handed tabs or right-handed tabs. The only other thing that I thought of is if, say, you've got this that says addresses, instead of having it written horizontally, let me just jot this down for you in my Frankenfax. So instead of having it like this, so that is an exaggerated tab, and it says addresses. Instead of doing that, let me just do this again. So again, an exaggerated tab. Why not just have it like this? I can't even spell. So you can actually see that you can see what it is, and that would be best for everyone. And that's something that works very well, in my opinion. Why don't they just do that? And so you wouldn't need to have left hand and right hand tabs. You could just print them vertically rather than horizontally. I don't really make suggestions to filofax really, because they are a very, very busy company. Obviously, I've been disappointed in so much as when I do suggest, I have suggested a few things in the past, I've had no return response at all. Maybe my emails are getting lost in the ether, who knows? But I'm not really enamoured towards making any suggestions. However, if someone has some influence with the FLB group, then maybe they could pick up this idea, and maybe we will see this idea in the future. But we are where we are. So this is a long tea break, as is inevitable with my videos. But I'm gonna crack on. So the next thing is just a quick thought. It's not so much videos per se, but it is involving YouTube. So there's this thing. Let me just turn this round so that it's orientated. So there's a thing called YouTube Premium. As many of you will know, it's basically a fee that you pay each month to enjoy ad-free content across the board. I've done a couple of I've tried this once or twice, and I'm trying it again because of two things. One is I wanted to see what my video podcast looks like on YouTube Premium, and I'm very, very pleased. And I've put a picture on the my channel community page, which you can all see, so you can see what it basically looks like. I'm very, very pleased with that. But I was wondering whether this was worth it, and I have come to the conclusion that, at least for me, it is worth it. I'm in the UK, and I'm paying YouTube, effectively Google, I'm paying them $12.99, so £13, which, to be honest, is perhaps quite a lot. Let me have another sip of this fantastic coffee. Not everybody will want to pay for that. There is an issue, as we know, with ad blockers, and I believe YouTube are finding ways to stamp that out. But let's say, I personally disagree with ad blockers, because basically it's like stealing from a shop. You've got basically content creators creating content. Sometimes it's quite an involved, time-consuming process. They rely on income from advertising revenue, and then you've got individuals that are circumventing that. So I just think of it like stealing from a shop. But anyway, I won't say more than that. But if you pay this $12.99, so basically some of that goes to some of that money goes to the content creators. And there's this amazing feeling of not having to watch these annoying ads. I really enjoyed that, because I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV for 10 years. I actually am a big fan of YouTube, because I can watch things in my own time across a diverse range of subjects. I mean, if I was waiting for terrestrial TV, I was waiting for some program on TV talking about filofaxes, I would be waiting forever, wouldn't I? So to me, it is a great thing. But I was just a rough calculation. I worked out that the amount of time I spend watching adverts, and that is not only the ones where you can end them early, but also the ones where you have to watch them in their entirety. I worked out, this is the magic figure for me, per month. Given the fact I'm a fan of, I watch other people's channels, and I'm for entertainment, research, all sorts of things. But it's for me, it's 7.5 hours. So would I pay if someone said to me, how would you like me to give you a whole day of extra time per month, and I'm just going to charge you $12.99, and I will give you one free day, literally 7.5 hours, so one free working day per month. I would say sign me up now. So it is a sign of the times that there's this battle between seeking content and trying to avoid subscriptions. But out of all the subscriptions out there, I think this is, for me, I'm not trying to plug YouTube Premium, but I'm just discussing, I'm sharing with you this calculation. I did not realise just how much time I have to sitting there waiting for these annoying adverts. And also, there's nothing worse than you've got your headphones on and you're listening to some music, and then halfway through it, there's an annoying mid-roll ads, as they call them. In fact, some especially some documentaries, the ads have come through thick and fast, and some of these ads, unless you end them early, they can go on for several minutes, and you have to stop what you're doing and then get on with it. So and then fast forward, as it were. So for me, I'm not saying this is the best $12.99 I've ever spent, but it's pretty damn close, you know. I don't know what it's like in the price in other countries. If you know how much, or you discover how much it is in your country, then leave a comment below and let me know, and we'll discuss that, no doubt. But obviously I would prefer it if it was free, but you know, this is how YouTube make its money, and if they weren't making any money through advertising, then YouTube would not exist. So it is a necessary evil, and it rewards content creators with not very much, but it's very, very welcome, the income to support the work they do. So I'm in favour of this, actually. So I think I'm minded. I am minded to stick to it. Anyway, next subject is changing the size of my. Let me turn this back again without my camera falling off. So there we go. So changing the size of my Atoma custom notebook. Now, though some people may recall that basically I cut this from. Oh, that's upside down, but never mind. I cut it from a larger A5 notebook, and I'm sort of experimenting with the size. It's very, very similar to a Moleskine or Moleskine, and you will notice something. The binder is slightly shorter than a typical A6 Moleskine or Moleskine equivalent, whether it's a Roskin or a Moleskine, or this is a Retisea, which I rate very highly because of the price and the quality, or a Rhodia. They're all very, very similar in size, and I make this slightly narrower this way, i.e. 80 by 140 instead of 90 by 140, which is this, because of the, I'm taking account of the rings. So width-wise, I'm very, very happy with that. But one of the things that I have talked about in the past is using my mushroom punch. This is a cheap mushroom punch. I'll leave a link in the description, an affiliate link. It actually works exceptionally well. I'm actually really, really pleased with it, because I don't really want to spend £100 on an Atoma version. I think this is about £15 I bought this on Amazon, but I'm sure they're available elsewhere as well, but I couldn't see any. But what I am doing is you'll notice that the paper sticks up slightly more than the cover. The cover is it's 140 from there to there. But there's some paper sticking out here that ends up as 150. And what I'm doing is these actual bits of paper are actually still at the moment 140, but I want to show you this. So I make these myself out of Rhodia 5mm grid paper, really good 80 GSM, really good quality. And the reason why I use these, apart from cost, is the fact that I can actually cut them so that I can cut them in line with the actual grid, whereas inevitably with the Atoma paper there is they're not flush, the guillotine cut is not in line with the grid squares. I've left a little bit extra here for some reason. I must have made a mistake, but the crucial thing is with this hole punch, if I, rather than fiddle about with making the first cut as a custom cut, I just put this in and just accept the standard gap. I'm not really explaining it very well, but if you put this in, the standard gap is 4 squares that way, more or less. But I've only got 2 squares here. So what I've decided to do, these are 5mm grid squares, I've decided to extend this 2 more grid squares. So it's 150 this way. And the advantage of that is that the 5 discs are symmetrical. So if I wanted to turn the paper upside down and fit it in here, effectively you would have 4 grid squares this way and 4 grid squares this way. You can see that. So that is basically the new length, and I've checked you can cut 3 of these 150mm by 80mm sheets from an A4 sheet of Rhodia paper. And in the fullness of time, I will recut some card covers so that they will extend to here and they will extend to here. But the beauty of this system, as I've said before, is that you could have this as 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 8. You can have any custom size you like, and then as you go along, you can then change slightly the cut, the actual physical size, and you can plough through them, and it will gradually evolve. And so you will still carry on using your old paper, and when it goes through the system and eventually has to be discarded, then the new, in my case slightly taller paper will evolve. It will gradually flow through the paper. As each day progresses, I add one more day and discard one more day. So it actually works very, very well. So let me have a bit more coffee. Fantastic. And finally, while we're on the subject of paper and making the most of paper, I just want to give you an example. So this is a sheet of A4 that I've used, nothing on the back. So what would I do? What would I do with a sheet of this paper? I mean, a lot of people would maybe chuck it away or use the back. And I will show you what I do with this, because I use a lot of paper, and I like to make the most out of a valuable environmental resource. I mean, paper takes up I think I heard that it takes 20,000 litres of water to make 1 metric tonne of paper. So that's 20 litres to make a kilogram of paper. So we have to be careful of this. I'm just going to put this through here and do something. So there we go. It's on mini size. There we go. And then basically what I can then do after that, let me use those IKEA scissors because they're falling apart. So basically I've punched once, and bearing in mind I have these notebooks, mini-sized notebooks. So this one is for my coffee breaks. This one is just an inbox, and this is for my podcast. What I can do with this is, and it's all about minimising hand and foot movements. Well, mainly hand movements because I'm sitting down. But I can cut these. It doesn't have to be perfect because, you know, just doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not fussy about this. So long as they fit, it's fine. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just sort out these and cut these. But I want to show you something about how I use the paper to its maximum capacity. So as you can see, we have some paper that, for instance, can go in my inbox. So we've got some blank paper here. So we can put these in. We can sort these out. And we've got 8 sheets where you've got at least one side that is completely clear. Let's just add those for the purposes of the demonstration. Are we going to get them in all in one go? Yes, we are. So there we go. So they're in there. So we've got plenty of paper we can jot down. But then what I do on the other side, this is what I just do. Because I want to use this side of paper as well. So I literally just cross off the bits of the paper that I've written on. So here we go. This actually has a bit more, but I'm just going to cross this off. So I'm just scribbling it, which I suppose is a therapeutic thing. So, you know, I can do that whenever. Here we can just cross and so on. So you get the picture. So basically, I can actually, if you look at this, or this, perhaps not so much that, but it still works. But if you look at this, I've still got plenty of space here, which I can use to jot some notes because this is an inbox. I can just write here in this triangle. It's not quite great. I can write something here. I can write something here. You know, so there's lots of opportunity to maximise the use of paper, even if it's been scribbled on before. And this is what I'm doing because I want to make use of the paper that I'm using, really. So that is what I'm doing, and I just wanted to share that with you. So thank you very much. I will have another coffee break video soon. There is no schedule, as you know, but I'm planning on making a few more of these, and I have gone on for just over half an hour, which wasn't the plan, but what I might do, I waited until I had 5. I thought I'd squeeze in 5 topics. Maybe what I should do is cut that down and just talk about 3 different subjects instead. Who knows? But essentially, I want to try and keep the coffee break to a coffee break proportions, if you like. But we'll see. But anyway, thank you for, let me just put that down. Thank you for watching, and until my next video, goodbye.